Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Press. We are reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now, let's go straight to analyzing the stories that we read out to you. And our guest on the show this morning is Obadiah Mbila, CEO, Lovewalk Media. Great to have you on the show today again, sir.
Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sir.
You blended in your color this morning.
Yeah, girl, like she's talking to my wardrobe this morning.
I'm sure I came in before you, so that makes sense.
It means nothing.
While I was passing by,
it doesn't say anything.
Well, you already know she did, right?
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense.
All right, so viewers, our phone lines are open. You can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. Remember, you only have 60 seconds to every caller, and turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear ourselves. Quite a number of stories making the round, but we'll start with the off-season elections. Vanguard newspaper says 5 days to Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi polls. Fear of violence and apathy looms. And then when you go straight to, I think I saw that on the Voice of Liberty this morning. It says, okay, I'm not sure it's that one, but I can't remember where I saw it, where it says the IGP is planning over 200 vehicles.
220.
220.
Punch newspaper.
Okay, Punch newspaper says 220 vehicles. And then I'm just wondering if you have those areas, those states, I'm trying to manage my word, but the truth is that it's there, it's glaring. Most times you always have so much attacks and violence, especially from those 3 states. So if you have only 220 coming from the police, how much will that douse the tension and the trepidations coming from people saying that they are scared of the violence, so they don't at least draw down the voters' apathy?
Yeah, you know, what's happening is aptly captured in the headline: fear of violence. You don't just begin to fear if there was no background to the fear. These 3 states has a history of not just violence, but extreme violence. And look at what happened the other day when the Nigerian Labour Congress president visited Imo State, maybe on a solidarity rally, and the way he was...
Did you say maybe?
Come again?
Did you say maybe?
Yeah, I don't know his intention. It has not been made public. But we remember that it was widely reported that the Labour in Imo State insisted on going on strike. And we also know that in order to stop that strike action, the Imo State government procured a court order restraining the State Nigerian Labour Congress from taking industrial action. But their insistence on going on in the action probably is the reason why the national president, who coincidentally is also an indigene of Imo State, visited on a solidarity rally. I may never know, but he was in Imo State. And just the way he was manhandled by the police that's supposed to be protecting the common citizen.
But they came out to say that they were only kept in there for protection.
Yeah, but it's not just for that type of explanation. Nobody denied that the bruises in his face was part of the protective action that was taken to save his life. So we agree that they probably forced him to protective custody, but does their intention to protect a citizen would also extend to brutalizing him?
Because that doesn't look like protection to me. It looks like deliberately inflicting pain on somebody.
Well, we want to go with the Nigerian police because they are there to protect us. That's what the Nigerian police have clearly stated. That's also what our Supreme Status Book, the Constitution, clearly stated, that their work is to protect the common citizen. So a situation where it does appear that those that are supposed to be protecting the citizens are responsible of victimizing terrorizing the citizen. The natural fear that will come at a time like this, when we have a few days to the election, is that is the police going to be fair? Are they going to stay neutral as they're supposed to stay? Or will the citizen be housed, be intimidated as it has happened in the past? Or when there is a scuffle at the polling station and then someone is being manhandled or probably murdered, and the police will be looking the other way. We saw that played out in the past, you know, and no one has come out to explain why the police, who's supposed to be independent in this matter, neutral in this matter, are taking sides. It has happened in the past in Lagos State, it has happened in Bayelsa State, it has happened in Kogi State and Imo State. So when these three states are going into an off-season election, you can imagine the type of violence that may be building up before now. But
okay. Talking about violence that are building up before now, especially in those three states that people traditionally believe that are violent prone. Now, looking at those three states and the deployment of 220 patrol vehicles according to the IGP, do you see a situation where there will now be maybe some sort of over-militarization and...
Oh, it already is. It's already over-policing. It is the atmosphere. Hearing that 230 vehicles were deployed in three tiny states.
Three states. One is just 8 local governments, and if you look at them, they are not even compared to maybe states like Niger states that is very large, and other states when it comes to the main elections, the general elections. But looking at those 3 small states.
And where are they going to patrol this vehicle in Bayelsa?
Bayelsa that has just 4 local governments on land and 4 on water.
Would the Bayelsa location be allowed to be in the hinterland, which is just 4 local government areas?
Maybe they have other...
So these are the questions that need to be further probed and answered by those that are supposed to be protecting us. If the intention of over-militarizing the place is to intimidate, is to harass, is to terrorize citizens, then that should be condemned.
But if you are sorry, I had to butt in there. If you're an indigene, or if you're an electorate from that state, you should understand that it is violent prone. So would you actually see it as over militarization or protecting us?
Well, it could have been protecting if the police have had a track record of using their position, their equipments for the purpose of protecting citizens at a time of an election. It is worrisome that the police is having reputation of working for any government in power. This ought not to be so. It is not just a dent in the image of the Nigerian police. It is a dent that the police need to rise up to the occasion and confront it, so that they can win the confidence of the citizenry. They can win the confidence of the people. It should be, if there is a fracas going on and then you see a police patrol van coming, people should naturally rejoice and say, okay, the police is coming here to bring calm. You know, that would be applauded if that's the way our police is carrying out their activity. But a situation where we have recorded several cases where the police is taking side, the citizens have reason to be afraid of the deployment and the over-militarization of the election.
You know, there are also some pockets of conversations going on that most of the hotels and all of that are supposed to house a lot of persons have actually been booked out by some political parties. And if you look at these 3 states, we have incumbents, at least 2 of them in some states. So do you see a situation where the incumbent power will now come into play more in these states?
Oh, yes. You are seeing 2 incumbents. But I'm seeing 3 incumbents. Oh. You know, the governor of the confluence state, Kogi State, is highly celebrated White Lion is not taking the election as election that concerns Ododo and others.
But even though it was reported recently that he must have stepped down, but he came out to say that, deny it.
Sorry, Ododo?
No, I mean the White Lion.
Yeah, said he
denied stepping down. We saw recently on Friday saying that Ajaka has decided to step down for the election, but then he came out to say that, oh no, that he's still in the race.
Yeah.
So you have to get to see this kind of stories.
It is part of the evidence to tell you how desperate he is, and he has shown that in such remarks that he made over time. For instance, you see him alluding to the fact that other parties are collapsing their structures for Dodo, and the next day you see SDP campaigning, and then of course mobs action taken against the venue where they visited, or being waylaid on their way out of the place they went for campaign. And these stories has not been confronted by the state government to give a satisfying answers why the opponents, why the other parties will be the one that will be at the receiving end. Why is it that we are not hearing that APC went to so place and there were mob action against them? No, we are hearing that about SDP, and so many things about how to frustrate the SDP candidate. So the incumbent governor is an incumbent in the election. That's all I'm trying to stress here. And he has shown that through his words and through his action, in his own mind, he wants to assume that there is no other party that is contesting other than Ododo of APC.
All right, because you talked about Ajero, the attack on him, Daily Sun says Labour adamant on strike over Ajero. NEC meets tomorrow to take decision, flays Imo government and urges presidency to intervene. And then Loretta Onoche comes out to say he's Labour Party member. And I wonder why she actually made that statement in all of this. Someone was attacked. Loretta? Yes.
Okay.
And then she came out to say that he's Labour Party member. What does that have to do with the fact that somebody was attacked? I also remember having to talk to someone here on the press, and then he stated that why would Ajero go to Imo and have that protest at the same time when he knows that he is in a particular party, Labour Party, and then the incumbent governor is going in for an election. So it means it looks like that's going to be a sabotage, and that's why he got that attack. Do you agree?
Well, there is no ground to justify that attack. In the past, we have seen a situation where the former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, visited Anambra State at a time like this. I am sure that visit was purely political to undermine the election of those that are not in their party. That's part of his reason for visiting. And knowing very well that when he goes round the state, he might be strike so hard on other parties. The state government decided to ask the police, please do not allow El-Rufai to leave his hotel room. Let him remain where he is. He has no, we can't assure his protection if he lives here. That was a more diplomatic approach to contain the influence of that visit to Anambra State, and it was a more decent way of handling it. Ajero arrived in Imo State. I am sure there was an intelligent report that tracked his landing to Imo State, and you as the state government, don't want him to go around and discourage people or encourage the labor to go to strike. You can employ the Anambra style by saying, look, Ajero, welcome to Imo State, but remain here, they'll serve you your meal here, do everything here. We can't guarantee you are going around the state. So the police will man Ajero in his hotel, and nobody would brutalize anyone. Talking about Ajero being a member of Labour Party,
yeah.
Is there anything in our constitution that forbids him from being a member of Labour Party if he so chooses? If he is a member of Labour Party, does that mean that if those that are in the ruling party has to victimize other members of other party?
Is that what our politics has actually been drawn into?
That's the type of politics Loretta Onochie wants us to buy into. And those that are saying, why did he visit Imo State? He remains the national president of Nigerian Labour Party. In fact, if I were the Imo State government, I will root for how to bring Ajero into discussion, into conversation. How can you douse the tension that is already being generated in Imo State? You can use your presidential power over these people to quell the intention, to quell the burning fire, the zeal to go on strike.
Especially from workers.
From workers. When the workers have their genuine reason of taking this industrial action. You cannot continue to treat me as if I don't want giving attention to. I don't have value. I don't add value to the economy, to the system. For goodness sake, I am the engine room. I am the one that is sitting down every day to plot out how Imo State is going to work. So give me that space and recognize my space too. That's what the workers are asking, and they're not asking for much. It is up to the Imo State government to use force to quench them, as they're already demonstrating, or to negotiate with them. Me personally, I have always advocated for dialogue.
Okay, so in this situation where we have issues of being partisan or not being partisan, and of course having this kind of adverse effect, is really any Nigerian's life worth any of the blood?
Well, that's the question everyone should be asking. And like I once said, if we have voices condemning this, then the police will know that their image is at stake. But now, when we allow it go down, to know it could be me, they can let me outside this studio now and say, you're going nowhere. We want to take you to protective custody.
All right. Let's quickly...
By the way, I also have issues with international labor.
Right.
I thought by now they should have come out.
Just hold the thought for a second.
Hold your thought for a second. Let's think. I was actually cutting your call because I was going to call you to wish you happy birthday, happy 80th birthday.
Wow.
Happy 80th birthday to our very own Alhassan from Jos.
Happy birthday to you, Alhassan.
We love and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Elders Zion, one family with the KAFTAN. Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too, sir. We wish you long life and prosperity.
Please, on the discussion going on, the platform, you see, there is no doubt that the election, this off-season election, coming up on the 11th, we have a very low turnout, very low one. People are no longer interested in Nigerian electoral process. Even what happened in the last elections, even in Georgia, some people are threatening to go to court to obtain order to permit them to be opening their businesses on electoral days.
Oh, really?
Because they feel that there is no need going out to vote when your votes will not be counted. So having said that, it's important to inform the present government, that is President Tinubu, to be very careful on how he handles the issue in Middle East. You have to be very careful. The other time, some money was approved for the Palestinians as a humanitarian gesture, but nothing was approved for Israel. Because in war, the two parties suffer. They suffer. There's nobody that is enjoying during the period of war. Now, I don't know whether it is true or not, but then our knowledge can help us and explain this.
Alright.
Is it true that Tinubu has gone to Saudi Arabia in connection with the crisis in the Middle East? If it is true, what is going to do? Because he intends to go to Israel as well. So he has to be very careful.
All right.
Because Nigeria don't want to invite or borrow or bring problem from other lands to come and start winning our area.
All right, Father.
Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Zion.
God bless you.
God bless you, Zion.
Thank you.
Have a good life ahead, sir.
Amen.
It is
All right,
a
so
huge feat.
we'll definitely bring that question to you. Like he stated, what is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu going there to do? Is it to bring more, solve their own problem when we have our own issues here?
Zion, thank you for also giving us this privilege to wish you well. You have been very strong in the KAFTAN family press program. I appreciate you personally. But I would like to say, yes, you're right. If you want to demonstrate humanitarian whatever to the Middle East, you have to be very careful. If you take action that will be misinterpreted by citizens, it can jeopardize your good intention. Now, Israel is at war in Palestine. And in Palestine, many people don't realize that what they are fighting for may be different for our own interests at the international level. So I have read that our president have made some gesture for the Palestinians. I will encourage the handlers of president also to balance it. That is very important. The second question was his mission to Saudi Arabia. You appreciate the fact that even before he came on board as president and commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic, there has been an ongoing Arab-African summit. And I am convinced that his reason for going to Saudi Arabia is to attend this Arab-African summit, which involves African leaders and Arab leaders. Unless we want to attach some meaning to it, there is nothing wrong to belong to international association. We have that type of relationship with China. We have that type of the other day a country in Europe celebrates, is it Germany also? So we have relationship with countries other than those that we traditionally recognize. So many times when it is Arab, interpretation is always given to it because the insidious danger of bringing religion into it. And this ought not to be so. I encourage the Arabs to do something that would convince people that beyond religion, you are interested in the social welfare of other people. You are interested in the political stability in other clans. That would help to build confidence in whatever they are doing in Arab-African conference, which President Tinubu is attending in Saudi Arabia.
Even though, according to the headlines of the newspaper, they said he's gone there for investment options. He's eyeing some investment options. In
they called it Arab-African Summit. Part of the things that he would naturally do is to bring woo the Arab leaders to invest in his country, give them reason to invest in his country. This is different from the major conference itself. It's usually a sideline program which his handlers would have organized even before departing from Nigeria.
All right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. I came from Lagos.
Yeah, Annabel. Good morning.
I know them.
We already know his voice. Welcome.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. First, let me quickly make a reference to Papa. Let me wish him a happy birthday for 50 years. The last caller.
We're together in it.
Yes, Zion. But anyway, I wish that Zion has, I believe he has elder children that are very versatile, current in international affairs. He will appreciate that if at all Nigeria gives aid to Palestinians, it's not just because it is helping Muslims or Christians. Because of what is happening right now in Palestine, a lot of countries are giving aid, humanitarian aid, to Palestinians, not because they are supporting them because of religious basis, but because of the situation they found themselves. That is one aspect. Yes, I think we need to clarify that aspect. Let's look at even at the countries like Bolivia, Colombia, some South Americans. They even withdraw their ambassadors from Israel because of clear evidence of genocide. See, there's nothing we can hide here, okay? That is happening in Palestine. Palestine, don't forget, even you have more Muslims, there are Christians.
They're more Jewish.
More everything abundant. So let's forget about that mentality that it is Muslim or whatever. This thing, let's pray that it doesn't even spread across the world the way people are interpreting it. So if Nigeria gives aid to them, please, that's why I'm asking whether he has elder children that are very versatile international wise. They will have enlightened him to understand why Palestine actually needed that aid. So that may God bring peace all over the world. But then, lastly, over the labor issue. You see, politics in Nigeria, I don't know how it's going to be. Number one, like I said the other time, Adiro, is the president of the NLC. So I don't know how Nigeria wants to play that kind of politics. Because if I were to be APC as well, I would be angry because Adiro has a very big influence as the NLC president. And if, for example, he's going to Imo State, because definitely, and I'm not backing the Imo State governor if it is true that he's a poor-paid worker salary. That is very bad and it's not welcome, okay? But there is politics within the visitation of Adiro to Imo State. Nobody should just cover that thing. So they are playing their politics. Let them not just bring problems to Nigeria. That is just our own.
All right.
May God bless Nigeria.
May God bless you too. I came from Lagos. All right. Because of what he stated, I'm just wondering, because I saw yesterday one particular headline that says in Oyo State, some group of people have decided to organize a protest with regards to what is happening in Israel and Hamas. So you just begin to wonder why we just don't like to major on our own major things and minor on our own minor things. We've decided to put religion in all of this, but then they forget the fact, or maybe they don't know the fact that in Israel you have more Jews, more people who practice Judaism, even more than the Christians. I hear some people say that it is now a Christian-Muslim war, and then after all, someone came out to say that after all, the Bible says that when you're being slapped in one face, you turn the other face. But then you have more Judaism or more Jews in Israel than Christians. Why are we bringing everything to tribe and religion?
I have said this severally. The conquest of Africa was carried out with religion as an instrument of politics. So here in some part of Africa, you find that both their traditional and social life pertains to a particular religion. And so we see things from the eyes of religion, which is quite wrong. In Palestine, we have a good number of Christian churches that have survived several years. And the Coptic Church that has its origin in either Egypt or Syria and so on and so forth, they have their influence in Palestine. So when Israel released their bomb, it can hit a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew. But can't we look at it this way? They are humans, their religion notwithstanding. Can't we move from allowing religious sentiments to rule our thoughts and allow humanity as a common religion? So this is what we continue to see. I am even surprised that by now there's no such protest in the north. I'm not surprised that it is in the
west.
In the west,
that you have such protest.
Yeah, because extremism now prevails across the land. So it could be anywhere. But painfully, this is the time I expected the Ministry of Information, the National Orientation Agency, to rise up to the occasion and explain to the people what is happening, or what they understand that is happening in the Middle East, and why we in Nigeria should take certain diplomatic steps to assist where we can, and why it should not be misinterpreted. Carry out this type of campaign. Let the people,
jingles this time.
Let them become aware of what is happening, so that they cannot, in their misinformation, get the country to bomb.
I agree.
So there's this burning question that is on the front page of this day newspaper that I want to ask you before we leave. So someone says, where are the savings from subsidy removal? There has been subsidy removal for how long now? Nigerians are feeling the brunt and people are falling below poverty line. Now the question is, where are the savings from poverty removal? What's your thoughts?
Subsidy. Okay, before you take that question, because I remember in August I saw the report saying that Nigeria paid over 600 billion naira on fuel subsidy, and I remember having a guest to talk about that on the conversation, one of our sister programs, and I asked, is fuel subsidy back on the ground, on the G, like they say, or are we still paying fuel subsidy? Because where is this amount coming from? Because if you look at the fact that we are buying a liter of fuel at 617 naira or 614 naira, depending on the retail outlet that you go, naira to the dollar at that time before now was over 1,000 naira. And then the oil market, the market price globally is over $80 per barrel. How do you then say fuel subsidy is gone? Is there something that we're missing out on?
And where's the supposed savings that we claim to have been saving for so long from subsidy removal?
Well, I think the Minister of Finance is listening, or the advisor to the President on economic matters is listening, or those that are involved in his public relation department are listening to know that Nigerians are asking this question, because they are the one that can answer it appropriately. But I have my worry. Each time a government takes action, we seems to forget very quickly that no accountability has been brought with what was declared. I am removing oil subsidy. Fine. Before now, we were paying 10 naira. Now I have removed this oil subsidy. I'm putting this 10 naira in so and so place. There must be a title where you are taking this one from and where you are putting the other. There must be a title to take the subsidy, to give us the idea of where the subsidy money is going. Take for instance the House of Representatives. In looking at the budget, they discovered that there is a $5 billion yacht, presidential yacht, that was entered into the budget.
Really entered.
They said, yacht, 5 billion naira, we don't need it.
5.5.
This money, we are sending it to this students' loan you promised to undertake. Now you have billion instead of buying one yacht to reach other Nigerians. That is prudent management of public fund. Why should we applaud the president who told us that he has removed oil subsidy, and we said this is a welcome development because it has been talk. Now we have seen action. Where is the money that you said? After
don't you think he must have gone to palliatives? The 8,000 naira palliative that was even.
It is not because the president's private money. It is Nigeria's money. He will come and tell us, look, you people are waiting for me to bring this money from oil subsidy saving. I have employed it to service ABC.
But there was a particular time he came out and started explaining how some funds that they had saved up will be used when it comes to cushioning the effect of the fuel subsidy in some states, when it comes to grants, loans, and all of that.
See what we are saying here. If we say, oh, look, we have saved 9 billion naira since we took away this subsidy thing. I mean, this $9 billion dollars we have saved, whatever. We are employing so and so.
All right.
For boss, for this, there's a boss on our way ahead.
All right. Thank you so very much, Obadiah and Mbila, Chairman Lovewalk Media. I really appreciate your time in the studio today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers, as we draw the curtains on today's show, we'll see you again tomorrow. I am Olamide Alhassan.
Until next time, do have a very wonderful Monday morning and, of course, a very wonderful day. My name is Annabel Orji. Good morning.